want to blow on me. Run.
Ron,
Yeah.
alright, warm in here. We're in South Florida.
Yeah.
And we'll have the AC
We're on
off.
we're only going to be on for a few minutes.
Yeah. So, what's there to talk about?
I don't know.
Besides
Not a whole lot.
the typical every time we change our opinion, belief, and views, the people that we were rooting for kind of get a little upset and obsessive about things.
Yeah, that tends to happen on a nightly basis.
Yeah, it does happen all the time. But you know, the way I see it, that's how life is. That also you can't please all people all the time or something near that nature. I mean, you know, you got to be true to yourself. You know,
It's not possible to do that.
And that's life. You know, if you're doing the same thing year after year and there's no change, then I highly suggest that you take a look at your life, because life is meant to be lived. And just as the ocean waves go like this, and sometimes it's calm, sometimes it's rough. You know, that's how life is supposed to be.
What's that smell?
It's my nose and yogi, and
What is it?
it's like potato base instead of pasta, and then I made with some pizza sauce, and I made homemade pizza, and
Sounds good.
no cheese. It's all vegan. And
Usually what? What do we do usually?
what do you usually do?
Like in the last 3 months on a Friday night, what have we typically done?
It depends. So you buy lasagna from Trader Joe's or pizza from Trader Joe's.
We
but I
usually
decided-
go the Trader Joe's route.
Yeah, but today I decided, you know.
Today we went the Dollar Tree route.
Yeah, we cranberry, apple, and vodka. Friday nights and Saturday nights we have a few cocktails to unwind like normal people do.
You weren't doing that though back a couple months ago.
Well, with the whole Christian thing, you know, I went all in, you know, heads up, whatever, and I wanted to really, you know, feel it. Honestly, I took it in and wanted God to redeem us, you know, especially you, because I'm very pliable. I
Yeah.
can go either way, you know. It's
Well, some people would, that were saying to me recently was like, "Oh, you only did this for your kids," and
they were right.
they were right. I mean, I was overcome by lots and lots of guilt, and I love my kids. I wanted to be able to be involved in their lives somehow, and I figured the only way to do that was to, do transition. And also the part where, we got involved with Christianity was, I don't see it as not being genuine. It was genuine. I mean, I honestly did want that feeling and those things to happen in my life. But when I realized what it was all about,
But then,
I was like,
yeah, but then, that's like one of those things. I was waiting for this, especially after the baptism. I was expecting for like this miraculous thing. Put it on and it's hot. Sorry, I know you're gonna hear a little bit of AC kicking in. Expecting some massive, I see these people with the Holy Spirit and all this stuff that takes place. I mean, I've always been spiritual. I think more spiritual than the average individual. Since I was a little kid, I've always had a connection with my higher self, call it the universe, conscious, spirit. People have all sorts of names for it. And I've always been guided by that. And it's never led me wrong. I'm a good person. So, going into a religious belief, although Christians don't believe that Christianity is a religion, it's a relationship with Christ, and everybody's entitled to believe whatever. I didn't feel anything out of this world, and basically I was doing it so that everything would flow the way that it needed to, because I knew that was part of what needed to be done to try to get close to the kids.
yeah, and that was really kind of like, it wasn't like, oh, and because of the kids not accepting, although that didn't really help the situation any, but it wasn't just because of that we decided to continue our transition. And stuff like that. It was basically because we just found it to be empty. You know, we found it to not really be the truth. You know, and that's what we are. We're truth seekers. So the more we look into it, you know, and I realized, am I going to go back to the same thing? You know,
Well, the fact that we weren't allowed to change our IDs back or gender markers back was that's one thing people have to make sure that this is your truth and this is what you really want, because going forward is easy, going backwards is not. And that kind of freaked you out, and then you're like, oh, that means then we're not supposed to change. And then, like you said, kids weren't really accepting, the ex wasn't accepting, friends had all this contingency that they wanted you to do a reset button, go back with Cheryl. You know, I was having a hard time getting rid of all the masculinization that I underwent for 13 years, you know, and my voice was never going to go back to me.
Wasn't it?
No, and the facial hairs, all it did, that laser, was create a marbleized effect where I've now got patchy, you know, growth, so I can't even grow a full beard. I'm trying to grow a goatee with my little sideburns there, but, you know, it kind of put me back years of the work that I put, muscle loss, although I'm starting to gain some muscle back again, you know, but it, yeah, I want to say I'm a little bit upset because I've given so much in the past 2 years, and I've tried this. This was the third time, thinking that it would be the greatest thing for the family to accept, and in the long run, they really didn't. So.
well, the conditions are set in stone, and it didn't matter what Mark did or didn't do. It just became something that my children were more hesitant, resistant to the fact that I had remarried to anything else about, you know, I mean, the transgender thing was already a nail in the coffin. But when you couple that with a remarriage and then I married again, oh my gosh, you know, it was like, you know, but I don't know these things. The kids don't talk to me. They don't really tell me anything. They're not in my life.
Well,
so I really don't know them.
I mean,
anymore.
what was it that I read today, that there's 1 out of 3 households are end up in divorce? You know, and it's like your kids are so sheltered and, you know, kept in this little sheltered box that, thanks to your ex, that to them it's like, oh, and then I realize it's pretty much more normal to see. I mean, I come from a broken home. I know a bunch of my friends come from a broken home, and, you know, you survive, you learn to deal with it, you learn to be amicable to your step-parent, and your kids just don't, you know, want to play that game.
They don't want it. I don't think anyone wants to play that game. We got to talk to my mom a few times.
And she
It
was
was awkward, but, you know, she was, I mean, she even referred to you in male pronouns.
Yeah, you know, because my essence is that of, you know, even as I was trying to detransition, I mean, it was just a lot of, you know, this is who I am. I mean, this is who I've always been. Before transition, I was just, you know, extremely masculine, extremely alpha. And then when I started taking testosterone, it just like, you know, fully encased it. And it's who I am. And now that I've been back on TV, it's been 6 weeks now. It's like I can tell the difference in my brain, the way I think, the way because I let Maritza back in for you.
Yeah.
When I first met you, I mean, even my ex-wife, my ex-girlfriend, never really saw that part of me. I never really gave them that part of me. They just got this alpha male type with you because of the nursing you back to health, and I mean, it just came out. And
for me, I was in the throes of my transition. I wasn't even contemplating anything other than, you know, the typical transgender narrative and stuff. And after the accident, I just kind of lost it. You know, I didn't know who I was at that point. You know, I didn't know where I stood. And even early on when I asked you, can I call you Maritza? And it was like, you know,
how would you want to call me, Maritza?
I know.
And Angela. And then it was just like, you really, pardon the French, playing a mind fuck on me. And I just, you know, I've been amicable all the way. And because fell in love with you, I was like, okay, well, I'm a very easygoing person. I will adapt to whatever situation I have to adapt to. It's something I have learned through the years.
Yeah.
I had to deal with the abusive household that I was raised in, so I had to learn to adapt to things.
It's okay to,
No, that's the other, but it's okay, because
yeah, and my desire to want to be able to reunite with my children has kept me dancing the line on my transition so that I could actually accommodate them, but still remain transition, and it just never
doesn't work.
it's never going to work
Because
that
if you're
way. I mean, you
one
can't.
foot in each world, you can't really.
But it's not like I was wanting to do that necessarily. It was that was the only way that I could relate to my children. That's the only way that they would accept me. So whenever we talked last year and then a few times this year, it's always one-sided. It's always
It's very painful.
limiting, and the last time I spoke with them was very painful for me because it felt like I was just asking them questions and they were giving me one-line answers. And
Well, that's always how it's been from the beginning.
it has been. It has been.
And then speaking with your oldest and texting, it's always been an argumentative, disrespectful, angry teenager who, I could go on about all the different.
I've never really had his respect. Apparently, he thinks that respect is earned. And
Not
it's
when you're a
not.
parent.
Well, when you're a parent, respect is not earned.
No,
it
you've
doesn't
gotta
matter
have
if your
it.
dad is a mass murderer.
Yeah.
You still respect your dad because he's your
He's your
dad.
dad, yeah.
So
But he's got that issue. He's got, I would say a lot of other issues that does not stem from what happened with you, but stems from that's the way he was built.
well, my ex would tell me recently that he's a strong-willed child. And
That's a
it's-
nice way of putting it.
Yeah, it's a very nice way of putting.
You don't threaten somebody, you call somebody a whore, like you called me.
That was very, very wrong. I mean, there were so many things that were wrong in that text conversation that there's things that were said that you would never imagine. I mean, this person has been with me from day one, has helped me from the point where I was helpless to where I am today, and for him to disrespect you like that, it was absolutely
And what
uncalled for.
hurts the most is the fact that, I did so much for his parent, for you, and that he doesn't want to see it. He just, because if he acknowledges that, then he has to see me as human, and he doesn't want to see me as human. He wants to see me as a monster.
I don't know if anybody in my family, other than my own mother, with you detransition, would have wanted to see you as human. I mean, it got to the point where even when you had detransition and were, saying you were Christian and everything, my ex still didn't want to speak to you. And that's been 3 years, people. 3 years since I've been gone. This is absolutely ridiculous, that someone would be that vehemently opposed to speaking, after I've been already gone for 3 years. I mean, it speaks to the fact that there needs to be growth on their part, but they refuse to grow. They refuse
Because
to
they're holding on to a lot of their Christian beliefs, and that's one of the things that really made me wonder about this Christianity. The way your son was in Christian college, the way your ex-wife, the way that your family who's Christian handled the situation. And it's just, to me, all I've seen from your friends who really didn't want to know me or accept me. Very few even gave me the time of day.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait a minute, so this is Christianity? No, thank you. I'd rather go with my spirituality, my shamanism, my beliefs that are very close. There's some Buddhism. I mean, I don't know. I don't even give it a name because it's my own spiritual version of spirituality. I mean, I collect crystals, feathers, and I'm very in tune with my higher self, and it's worked for me throughout my life.
And that's what I was amazed at about you, was that from very beginning, you've always been very spiritual.
Extremely.
And you were not attached to the things of this world. You're not
No.
attached to things at all. You don't care about anything. You just, you want to spread love. You want to be able to find truth. You want to discover, what really is valuable in life. Not
Connections
things-
with human, love, the heart space, and staying present in the moment and just loving. That's why I'm very much prepared. And we're going to be talking about a lot of this on next week's show, the weather warfare that's going on, with the Rockefellers and everything that's taking place that you're seeing unfold before your very eyes. I'm prepared, whatever happens. I have no fear because basically, when I did my spiritual journey, I got rid of everything and I just lived. Like I created a little makeshift thing behind my truck.
You don't lose me at any point with this conversation, but I find that you lean to doing that type of thing more so
Mm-hmm.
when you're in your masculine. When you
Of
have,
course.
because it wasn't as prominent when you were expressing more femininely. And
Well, that's the
it's
male
like that
survival
drive.
instinct, knowing what's going on,
Yeah.
and my
that drive to
survive.
be prepared and survive,
Yeah.
and I'll listen to what you have to say, but I don't really know
Well, that's
what's going on.
right, and that's the problem. That's what they're doing. What they're doing with humanity, because it's like everybody's saying, and as we're seeing, here you got Hitler #2, Trump doing his victory dance or whatever it is. It's going around. What are they calling it? Thank you tour or
Victory
something.
tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all the different things that are taking place. I'm just sitting there going, talked about this all back in 2008.
So we just left that type of Christianity behind, because that type of Christianity doesn't serve any purpose, not just for us, but I just don't see it as being valuable. This is the faith that I grew up with, and then when I went back to it, I just saw myself going back to old limited thinking, and I had been exposed to so much with you that when it happened and we started to really look into our Christianity and how it was going to work, and after getting baptized, you didn't feel all the anything. It's not like you didn't need some holy moment. It was just a connection with the commitment that you were making, that you were giving yourself to God or whatever. And after that, it was like we were basically kind of questioning and
It freed us
Yeah.
in a certain way, which is really awkward because usually it binds you to faith, but it
Yeah.
freed us and it kind of cemented that my beliefs were right on target.
And then we started saying stuff, and people started getting upset at us, Christians that we had made friends with, and people that I had known from the past. And they were just like, how dare you speak against the church? And I was just like, I'm just asking questions. I'm just saying, there's 70% of you guys that are men in the church that are into porn. That's a problem, and nobody wanted to talk about it. People thought it was blasphemous to even mention some, the issues that the church faces. And they're like, you better watch out because God will punish you for going against his chosen few, and it's like, we looked into it, and it was like, you've already looked into it in mass.
Yeah. Well, what I find is that people, instead of being what I call delivered or redemption, they're suppressing and repressing. They really aren't free from what they gave to God to take away, because it's like a 12-step program. Literally was an alcoholic, was an alcoholic, and so you're constantly being shoved into this corner and told how bad you are, you can't be trusted. And I'm sorry, I think the heart of humankind is the most wonderful thing we have and possess, but they program you to believe from the time you're little that your heart is wicked. There is not an ounce of wickedness in your heart. You know what's wicked? Your mind. Your your mind, and your mind's being controlled and programmed to believe such a thing. But human nature is good nature because we are part of our Heavenly Father. The Heavenly Father that no one in Christianity or any religion talks about, because it's not in the Bible. The Bible talks about Jehovah. Jehovah is a fallen angel. It is a deity that, along with many other deities, that were created by the Heavenly Father. And they hate us so much that have enslaved us. Watch The Matrix, Google certain The Awakening. There are so many things that are out there because they don't hide it anymore. So you need to wake up so that you are prepared for what is going to take place, because it is a spiritual battle. Just like Star Wars, it is a battle for your soul, for your spirit. But Christianity is not going to be saving you. Trust me on that.
Now the whole issue with us, going back was because it's like I was just not really happy,
Yeah.
I wasn't, I wasn't feeling it. It wasn't like something that was giving me any victory at all. I wasn't like feeling
We're
like
redeemed.
things
It
changed
was all,
or anything. It was like, oh my gosh, we're back to this again. I mean, I left this 3 years ago. I'm going back now, and we just realized that this is who we are. This is who you and I married as a transgender couple in that sense, and that's just who we are. And to negate it would be to hurt our relationship, and it's something that I know a lot of people won't understand. I know that they're going to say, oh, you copped out. Christians are going to say, how dare you make, mockery of God and what he's done.
Like, they know God personally. Everybody claims to know Jesus and know God. Has he come before you? You're just going by what somebody else has told you. You're not even allowed to what is it like David talked about, discernment? You're not even allowed to have that pure connection. You have to always go either through a book or through a pastor or through whatever. And it's like, no, you have it in you. You have that direct connection with a Heavenly Father.
I remember my friend was asking me, why don't you guys go to your pastor at your local church to talk to? It's like a stranger?
Yeah, please. Like they have some magic.
He freaked out when we told him we were trans.
Yeah.
When we first we're delivered, we were trans. And he's like,
huh?
oh, I need to point you to our same-sex deliverance ministry.
Because he can handle
Let me call somebody to handle you guys. And, but the same-sex guy was still struggling himself when we were talking to him. So
that's what I'm saying. There is no such thing as deliverance or victory. It's just suppressing, and just being miserable in hopes, and then doing things behind closed doors because you're pretending to be all saved and then you're doing things behind closed doors.
Well, your thoughts are still
you're still constant. You're fighting it, and it's like, what's the use of fighting? It's who you are. God will not punish you for being who you are.
We just don't believe that there's a hell. We don't believe that that life is just about getting saved. I mean, it's there's more to life than just becoming a Christian. I mean, it's not about that. I think everyone on the planet has an opportunity to progress in their life, in their eternal being, to be able to get to the next level. And no one's going to hell, people. We're not going to go fry in some furnace hot as hell. I mean, that would be anti what, it's like God lives in us. A piece of God resides in us. Yeah. So why would he
want to destroy
abuse
himself?
His own self?
Exactly.
It doesn't make sense.
And why would you give people these sexual preferences or gender identity confusion and all these things, and then send them to hell because they can't beat it? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It's like a masochist type of lunacy that religion pushes on humankind to control you.
It's like, when I went to Israel back in 2009, they have all these rules, and one of these rules is that you can't work on the Sabbath day, right? So they still, in modern day Jerusalem, at the hotels, they punch every floor so that if a Jew is on the elevator, they don't have to push a button because that would be working. So the elevator stops at every single floor. That is the kind of God that Christians serve. That God, that one that says, don't do that, or else if you do, I will condemn you. You know, and it's like, there's no condemnation, people. There's no hell. There's no, you know, punishment, eternal punishment. That's not going to happen.
Just think about it. If you have a kid, you love that kid with all your heart, and the kid does something against your will. You tell him, hey, Bobby, I don't want you to go inside that cookie jar and grab a cookie or whatever thing you told him not to do, and he goes in and does it. Are you going to like beat the shit out of that child and condemn them for forever hell because he did something wrong? Or are you going to love that child? You're going to, you might punish him in a certain way, but not condemn to eternal hell. I mean, how crazy is that? It's like creating a sentence of a crime that is not even equal. It's just fear tactic. That is it. Parents love. You love your kid no matter if he's a mass murderer or whatever he is. You love him if you're a good parent. And trust me, our Creator, our real Creator, not the Jehovah, Elohims, and all these other ones that, were created by the Heavenly Father. They're a bunch of narcissistic, and that's why many of us have the characteristic of these creator gods, because they came in and messed with the original Creator. But everything else is just BS. Anyway, our food's going to get...
Yeah, we don't want to cut our food cold. But, yeah, so that's basically where we're at.
And for those, actually, I'm going to direct this to Earl, whatever his name is.
Errol McInnes?
Yes, Errol McInnes. Go suck a rotten egg or something, You like, tried to make my life miserable last year to try to ride my way because you're a scumbag and useless piece of dirt. Lynna did not detransition because I wanted her to detransition. Trust me, Rome was built. Why did I want to undo Rome when Rome was perfectly built? Okay? Detransitioning and all this other stuff was her idea, not mine. I get all the beef from everybody. Everybody thinks that I manipulate you.
I know, they think that you brainwashed me and that you're the one that's in charge of, like, directing what we've done in the last year. And honestly, it's been my doing. Because of me, we're even here in Florida.
Yeah.
Because of me, we even moved out of the RV. Because of me, you wanted to detransition to be able to present to
your
my
family.
kids.
Yeah, your mom, your family. I figure if your mom dies, you want to go see her, and I'm the one that looks like whatever. You could just put your hair up and whatever, and so yeah. So I've taken all this bad rap for the past 2 years, a reputation that started to get ruined originally by Jessica, all the lies that she created, and then with my dearest here and her accident and her head going whoop whoop, and it's just like I've been made to be dirt, and I'm tired. I am fed up. I am over my limit for people threatening me, and doing what they've done when, prior to all this, you guys knew my record. You guys knew the kind of person that I was. So,
I mean, that whole concept of, like, that someone would actually, Errol McInnes, would actually buy MarkAngeloCummings.com.
domain, yeah.
And then threaten
Threaten
you.
me. I've got your name, so
I've got your name in the palm of my hand.
Stick it up your ass, you freaking piece of dirt.
I mean, he's a tranny chaser.
That's all he is.
That's all he is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like...
And then he tries to be this whole, I've created the time movement, the transgender, I don't even know what it stands for, and he's always
got
constant.
some old articles on there from
Yeah.
God knows when. Stuff that's a bunch of lies.
Attention-seeking, narcissistic piece of crap that's worthless. So, to you. That's it.
That's it.
All right, guys. We love you, but remember to love
Always
yourself
love
too.
yourself.
Sometimes I say always, sometimes not. But I'll say it again. We love you, but remember, always love yourselves.